Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with Gretta and Carol today, and we're very happy to be on Transformation Network every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. These conversations will help you look at your life, examine your creation of reality, to see what you're creating, how it shows up, and perhaps how maybe you can learn to look at things a little differently. So if you're new to the podcast, each week, Carol, Gretta, and I discuss a quotation that Gretta has downloaded from the Realm of Beings. And then towards the end of the podcast, the Realm of Beings channels through Gretta, and they get to tell us whatever they want about their quotation. So ladies, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning,
Everybody. And to Leigh, good evening.
Yes.
Okay, so what's our quote, Leigh? What's our quote?
Today, we are going to be talking about relationships. And the quotation is, first, stop looking outside of yourself for love and love you. Then seek the one you want to attract energetically to your life, who supports you in high vibration. So, can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, when I heard that, the first thing that came to me was maybe that old adage of, be the person you are looking to attract, right? So I think we have been going through things, kind of like looking for this, that movie. We've been programmed by that Tom Cruise movie, You Complete Me. So we think we're like under this false impression that, some other, which again is like some external person, is going to come in and somehow fill some void that you have. And, we have to fill ourselves up. I think that's what we're trying to get across here. So the first person that you have to start treating well and treating lovely is you. And, once you're treating yourself lovely and your self-talk is nice and wonderful, maybe then go out looking for Mr. or Mrs. Right, so that's what I was thinking.
I agree with that, Leigh, and I think that not only have fairy tales and movies created this false illusion that we need someone else to complete us, it actually started way back in ancient Greece, where they believed that humans were formed with 4 arms and 4 legs and 2 heads. And one of the gods separated them and made us to look like 1 head, 2 arms, 2 legs, and that we spend our entire life seeking for the other half of ourselves. But of course, that's impossible because we are complete within ourselves. And I know that relationships are probably a very popular subject that a lot of people want to hear about. I think we tend to loop. I know I tend to loop by attracting the same type of person. And I'm still learning how to love myself, because I always sought someone else to love me to make up for the fact that I don't love myself. And that is an impossible situation. That could never happen. Right, Greta?
Yes, I'd be in agreement with that. I think both of you are on the right track. I mean, it's saying that, yeah, that the important thing is to love self. And then the other thing that is important is to look at a loop. I think we need to define for the audience this morning. We've done a podcast on looping, but we might have some new people with us today. So would one of you want to talk about what looping is?
Sure. I've been doing it for such a long time. I'm an expert. You have a tendency, if you haven't learned a lesson that you're meant to learn, you will keep attracting the same person to you. They might have a different name or a different face, but they are the same person, and they are going to support the reality that you're creating for yourself. And if it's not self-love, you're not going to receive the love from them. They're going to support you not loving yourself. And if you start to recognize the pattern of, a constant stream of boyfriends or girlfriends or whoever who seem to have the same qualities as previous relationships, then you're in a loop. And you have to start digging deep and find out why you're looping. What is it about yourself that you keep attracting people that won't support you in love of self? And it all comes down to loving yourself. Bottom line, right?
Yeah, that's the bottom line. I know in my relationships, I did not fully appreciate myself because I was taught as a child that, that I wasn't worthy of myself, of even being, when you're constantly told that you're no good, as a child, what do you begin to believe that,
And that stays in your unconscious forever.
Absolutely. And what you have to do is, go ahead.
I was told repeatedly at a very young age that my mother wasn't supposed to have me. So I grew up feeling like I didn't deserve to be alive. And that certainly hasn't helped any of my relationships moving forward, for sure. So, I'm still in that process of trying to appreciate myself. And thankfully, with Greta and the realm of beings, I think I'm making some headway.
So, Leigh, what do you want to say? I know I feel
well, I want to say, Carol brought up the aspect of fairy tales, right? But there are sometimes some interesting things, like fairy tales can be very symbolic. We take them on like face value, but I think there's sometimes like wisdom contained in the symbolism. And I was looking at something the other day, and it was talking about, and I want to be careful how I word this, like it is presented in the fairy tale that, it is the prince, kissing the, sleeping woman, and then blah, 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 happily ever after. And like those things in the fairy tales are more like, it isn't two people, it's ourself, like waking up ourself. So you can view it as, we're unconscious, and, the masculine side of us could come to wake us up. So, I think it's more about trying to find our own internal balance between the dynamics that are within us, and go and have like the spiritual wedding of, connecting with your higher self and then going through life happily ever after, because I think that's what this is supposed to be about. Of course, there's going to be some challenges along the way, severity, to very different degrees, depending on what we're here for. But that sounds like an amazing fairy tale to me.
Ironically, the fairy tales that we're sort of familiar with, that I guess the Disney movies were the biggest proponent of showing us these happily ever afters. If you were to read, which I have, the original fairy tales as written by the Grimm brothers, they are nothing like the Disney movies. They are actually horror stories. So even what we're taught, in entertainment is giving us a false sense of information. Do you know in the real Cinderella story, they had the stepsisters cutting off their toes to try to fit into the shoe? I mean, they're really horrible stories. So, again, it's all programming that we need to overcome and just keep going within ourselves more deeply. Not necessarily more highly, but more deeply, and get to the core. What is going to make us happy? Love of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Gretta?
And to keep our toes. And to keep our toes.
Keep our toes.
Now that you
Buy
said
a bigger
that,
shoe.
I read the Grimm stories. I was reading the Grimm fairy tales over and over again. My mother gave me a whole book of Grimm fairy tales. Now that you said that they lost their toes, I'm going, ooh, yucky.
Yeah.
What
The
was
original stories were
what was I
not
putting in?
pleasant.
Oh my God, what was I putting in my unconscious mind? I just know that I attracted men that were physically, first one was physically abusive and emotionally abusive. I'm talking about significant others. Then my next significant other was physically abusive and emotionally abusive. So I actually, my first husband died and I married the second one. He was the same way, except everything escalated. And I'm going, holy moly. So finally I decided, okay, I'm going to get a divorce. So I went through and I got a divorce and I waited 6 years. I said, I'm not doing well in this marriage area, or even, attracting certain men to it. And it was abandonment. There were so many things that I went through in those two relationships. Then I met another gentleman that that was a paramour, but he was kind of rejective. He wasn't physically abusive, nor not really emotionally abusive, but I guess rejection is a certain abuse, is emotional. So I said, man, I'm doing better, because I kind of tracked myself. I said, well, I've lost the physical abuse. Now I'm just dealing with emotional abuse. And this was before I even knew anything about creation of reality, okay? And I said, wow, I just looked at myself. I said, I'm getting better. I'm getting better at this. And then that person I was not married to. And then I went to another gentleman whom I married, and my daughter he's the father of my daughter. And we had some emotionally abusive situations that we were dealing with. So then I looked at that and I said, okay, you're getting better. You're getting better, Gretta, and then we were together for 16 years. And then finally I went to him. I told him, I said, I think our lessons are over. Because what people don't understand too is that when you call somebody to you, it is for a lesson. It is for a lesson. And you want to find out what the lesson is. And usually the lesson is love of self. Are you loving yourself? Are you caring for yourself? Because that sets the pace. It sets the pace in your relationships. Now, it says, then seek the one you want to attract energetically to you. Okay, but how do you do that? One thing that we suggest, meaning the realm, is that you write down what you want to experience with your next mate. And when I have people do that, it winds up two things: what they want the mate to be like, because they say, I am experiencing creating and attracting, because usually everybody falls into that law of attraction. But what we've been taught is that it's not, the law of attraction doesn't come first, it comes second, because you've got to create the person. You've got to create the person first, and then you attract that individual. But if you write it down on paper, you're going to have a better chance of looking at it. You've got to move it from your thought reality to this reality where you start to concretize it, where you start to actualize it. So you write down, I am experiencing, creating, and attracting a mate or a friend, a mate, a domestic partner, or a husband. You want to decide which one of those you want, or a mate, a friend, a domestic partner, or a wife, because we work with men as well that are looking for, things. But
How
dating
about
happens
partner
not
in
necessarily.
love?
Huh?
How about partner in love?
Partner in love? Ooh, you got to be careful about that one. Because
But why is it like, why is it more
anything.
careful than like husband or wife, with all of the like collective consciousness that's like behind those things?
well, see, partner in love, then you need to define what is a partner in love. See, a partner in love could be a domestic partner.
Mhm.
The nomenclature could be, it's the same, because like
Mhm.
a friend is somebody that's going to come with, see, maybe you'll meet up once a month or something like that, but you're friends, you talk on the
Mhm.
phone. Mate is more that you're going to be sharing yourself. You're going to be sexually interacting with each other, but not often, and it's open to, the frequency is more, the visits are more frequent than with a friend. A friend is somebody you go to the movies with, right, right. Then your domestic partner is somebody that you live with, that you're seeing on a daily basis. You're waking up in the morning and looking at the person, but then you don't have necessarily legal responsibilities toward each other, depending on what state you're in. So, the definition of common law marriage would fit domestic partner, and that's by state. When do you officially, after 7 years staying together in some states, you are married? So, and then of course, we already know what married means, basically. So partner in love could be, I would even change it. I would say partner in unconditional love.
Right.
No, because it would take it to a deeper level,
Right.
and that's fine as well. It depends on what the two partners want to experience. But
Right.
the thing is, you want to attract to yourself somebody that you can, well, some people don't, I didn't in the beginning, I wanted to run for my money. And so I got it,
Right.
changed myself and said, I don't want to experience that anymore, So that's why we suggest to write it down. I am experiencing, creating, and attracting a mate, or I am experiencing, creating, and attracting a partner in unconditional love, or I'm experiencing, creating and attracting a domestic partner, or I am creating and attracting a wife or a husband, So you got to make that decision first. Which one do you want? Which one?
Greta, the point I get from that is that the words are necessary they necessarily do need to be specific, because if you put out a vague statement, you don't know what's going to come back. I mean, you could say a partner in love is a pet. Now, you might know in your mind you're looking for a husband, but if you didn't declare that, you could get anything that could be, a partner in love. So it's important to be very specific. It's also a good way for you to learn about yourself and what you really want. Do you really want to be married? Do you really want just a friend? It really helps you tap into your own inner desires of what you're seeking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then what happens is, I find that people define the husband, or they define the wife, or the male or the female. And it could be that you want same partner. You still do the same thing. You could be female saying that but you're playing the male role. So then you say, I am creating and attracting a wife. That's the same thing. Or there can be two males that have decided that a male who wants to experience a loving and kind relationship with another male. See, partnerships don't have to say male and female. You see, they can partnerships and love and all of that. It's open to all kinds of variations within it. But you want to secure, what do you want the other person to be? Who do you want to attract? See, you can't make the person kind. You can't say, I'm experiencing a kind mate, be it male or female. I don't care what it is. You can't say that, because you cannot make somebody be kind. They have to be kind before they get to you, not when they get to you. Sometimes, and I've done that, you see this wonderful person, you think you're in love with this wonderful person, and you see that they have tremendous possibilities of what they can develop within themselves. So then we go into this relationship from a savior point of view. Let me help you become the best person you can be, the best artist, the best high-tech person, the best composer, whatever. But then if you do that, you're getting into saviorhood, and the only thing you're going to get out of that is going to be you become a victim of that relationship. If you've gone into it with saviorhood in your mind, let me save you. Let me save you from yourself. So marry me. I can do that for you. And
that makes me recall statements where girls talk about boyfriends as fixer-uppers. Like, he has the potential, but I need to fix him. And that absolutely is not the correct way to find love in the sense of, attracting a mate or partner.
Well, you know what? That word that you use, what did you just say, Carol? It's not the
fixer-upper.
Right. Okay,
a
but
fixer-upper.
You said something about you said something about right. I can't remember now, just that fast. But everything is right.
It's not like the right way to approach a relationship.
What did you say, Leigh? Say that again for me.
I think she said something about like going in, saying like, oh, this guy's has potential, he's a fixer-upper, is not the right way to approach a relationship. Right, Carol? Isn't that what you said?
Yes, that is what I
now
said.
I remember. Thank you, Leigh. So right way. What is a right way? A right way is where you're at. If you want somebody, if you don't love yourself, you think that you are a low person on a totem pole, then you're going to attract the person who's going to show you that. Either they're going to be mentally abusive to you, emotionally abusive to you, physically abusive to you, but you are bringing that person to you. So in that case, that's a lesson you want to learn. So it is right. So because we're not dealing with this is right or this is wrong. You might have a person who's so physically abusive, they're throwing things at your head every morning. Instead of saying, good morning, let me kiss you, let me throw something at you, but that's because you want to be supported and not loving you. This is the whole thing about this relationship. The first third, that's why that quote says, I know when the realm comes on, I know they're going to stress that. You have got to love yourself first. And then go out. Fall in love with yourself. Instead of waiting, Valentine's Day is coming up. Instead of waiting for somebody to bring you candy and bring you roses and all that kind of stuff, or take you out to dinner, go to the store and buy yourself some roses and put it in the vase. Love you. Fall in love with you. When you do that, then you're better prepared to go out and find that which you're searching for. But I am experiencing, creating, and attracting a mate who respects me at every moment. Or I am experiencing, creating, and attracting a mate or husband or whatever name, personal lover you want to put in there, that respects my ideas. And go ahead, Lee's got her hand up. Those who are just hearing this. Yes, Leigh.
No, I was just wondering, can you clarify the difference between what you said about you can't make someone kind? So how can you make someone respectful?
You can't.
Okay, so
go ahead. Go ahead, Leigh.
No. So you were saying, I think, if I heard correctly, you can't say, I will attract someone who will be kind to me, because you can't make someone kind. So what is the difference between that and like someone who respects me through every moment? Was it a different feeling?
If you want respect, then that's what you're going to put there. I am experiencing, creating, and attracting a person who respects me. Mm-hmm. That's what you're going to put down. But it's not that you're going to make the person respect you. The person is a respectful person already. Mm-hmm. What you're doing is, because we create each other in our experiences. I'm going to refer to the empty box. I hope those people in our audience who have not listened to that podcast called The Empty Box, I highly suggest that you listen to it or look at it, because it will clarify more, give you more clarification about what we're talking about. That person already has to be respectful. And then you can create and attract. You create the actual person, and then you attract that person already. But that person is already respectful. They're respectful of themselves. They're respectful of others. If that person comes to you with now no love of self, no respect for self, you can't make them do that, because you are only responsible for your creation of reality. Now, what happens is that, and when you make that list, you want to be the list. See, the list is not external. It's an internal list. It's within you. I am creating and attracting. Okay, but that has got to be in you too. You want to be respectful to yourself and respectful to others. Therefore, you will create and attract that person to come to you that's going to do the same thing. But see, what happens is we go outside first. Create. Right. Create, support, create. But what do we do?
So you're creating someone who supports kindness. It's not that you're making them kind or making them respectful. Absolutely. You're attracting the support of someone who's already those things. But you have to be those things too.
Absolutely.
First.
Absolutely. Otherwise, they can't support you there. Everything on your list that you put down, you want to be it yourself, so that person will be supporting you in that. Because like Carol just said, create, support, create. That is taking place throughout all of existence. I don't care what species it is. It could be a
I'm
blade
thinking of getting a
grass.
tattoo of that.
Say that again.
I said I'm thinking of adding a new tattoo with that expression: create, support, create. I haven't had one for years, so I'm kind of due.
But yeah, but does that somewhat answer your question, Leigh, or what?
Well, I suppose I would just have to review what exactly you said earlier, because it is still seeming conflicting to me. But
Okay,
maybe I
how is it conflicting? Explain the conflict.
No, because I thought, and like I said, maybe what you said and what I heard was two different things. So I thought you said you can't put on your list, I want a person to be kind to me. Like they have to be kind, right? Already.
No, you can put it on your list. You can put it on your list. What the emphasis was that you can't think that the person is going to come to you. Because some of us, we just go out there and look for somebody. And then we say, oh, this person, I love this person. I'm talking to this person on the telephone. We spend on the telephone hours talking to each other, and I think this person is my twin flame, or I think this person is my soulmate. We've been taught to use those words, twin flame, soulmate. We think that. But then what we don't realize, and you feel very comfortable with that person. So what you want to look at, especially if you've had challenges in your relationships, you might want to look at that and say, okay, what's really going on here? Because that can mask it. Because when somebody comes to me, they say, oh, Gretta, I found this wonderful person. They're great. Just like the example I just gave, I shudder because I know what the person's loop is. And I say, okay, here we go again. They don't see the loop. They don't see that they're doing the same person over and over and over again. And that's the issue. You've done the same person over and over again. And you know where it usually starts? It starts at home when you were a kid. Because a lot of times the first male that you're going to meet is going to be your father. If you're a male, the first person you're going to meet is going to be your mother. So now what did they teach you? What did they teach you by verbally speaking to you? What did they teach you by example? What did they show you? And that's going to that'll support you. For instance, when my father came and told me he was leaving, he was taking my two brothers and his new wife to California. And he said, I won't be seeing you. Okay, what did that do to me as a 10-year-old kid or 9-year-old kid? What it did was set me up to be rejected because I said, why aren't you taking me? You're taking my two brothers. Why can't you take me? So, and left me with my mother, who I thought was not my mother. For years, I thought that woman she had adopted me. I did. I did. I said, this woman cannot be my mother. For the role that she played with me, I just swore up and down. I said, no, I'm adopted. I'm adopted. The only one I have is my father. My father didn't adopt me. Well, of course, it was easy because my mother was the one who was correcting me, from all kinds of little things that I used to do, like cutting holes in sheets. That's another story. But anyway, I was a very creative child. And I wanted to see, I know people are going to say, what? I used to take sheets, okay? I only did it once because my mother showed me that I should not do that again. But I took scissors and a sheet that we were sleeping with, and I would raise it up. And I said, now, what does it do if I raise it up higher and cut low? Then that showed me I got a bigger hole. Then if I cut up to the top where it would be a small hole. So I was investigating about how big and how small holes can be. And, and I was doing that with scissors. Don't ask me how old I was. I might have been 6. But, when I came in, my mother and I shared the room together in the same bed until I was 10. And so when she got in the bed and she saw all these holes in the sheets, she said, "Oh my God, Gretta, what are you doing that for?" But that was my exploration. That was my creativity. So my creativity, of course, in creation of reality, when I'm going to be punished for that, for what I did, which I saw as very innocent, I did things like that. I don't know what that says about my personality, but anyway, I just, it was rejection. So that means I brought men into my life that supported the experience that I had internalized from my father. Rejection. So what did the men do that there was a certain amount of rejection? Yeah, it really was. It was a certain amount of rejection, and it appeared as just treating me nasty. It appeared as going with other females, taking on other lovers while they were still married to me, so that was part of that rejection. So it kept on and on and on, and then finally, one of my mentors, Claudine, says to me, "You create your own reality." And I told her, "You can't tell me I created that SHIT myself." See, I spelled it instead of saying it. So that's what I literally said to her. "You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. No way did I do that." And it took a while for me to really understand that, yeah, I did do that.
Well, right. I mean, it's a, if you're not, if these concepts are new to you, it sort of becomes a sobering reality to take responsibility. Oftentimes we don't want to do that because socially it's like always the other person's fault. We're not really taught so much about creation of reality and responsibility. Ladies, we're heading towards do either of you have anything else to add before we pause, hear what the realm has to say?
I'm just going to reiterate, work out your list. Write it down what you want to experience, and don't forget about yourself. I am experiencing joy in my new relationship. I am experiencing peace in my new relationship. So don't just define the other person. Define what you personally want to experience in that. And you'll have a better chance, a better opportunity of creating and attracting that type of person to you. But love yourself. Yeah.
But sometimes, well, should I ask you or ask the realm? Sometimes if, like in your case, when you took a pause between creations, let's just say, is it, how do we know if we've done enough work before?
Around that. Let's go on. Let's get them in on this conversation.
Listener, thank you for joining us. We'll take a brief break and we'll be right back with Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. Hello, and welcome back to Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We reach the part of the podcast where the realm gets to weigh in directly on their quotation. So, realm, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, we have been discussing relationships, to flourishing in a relationship. And your quote is, first stop looking outside of yourself for love and love you, then seek the one you want to attract energetically to your life who supports you in high vibration. What do you have to tell the listeners today about that?
You know, when you think of relationships, and there can be many types of relationships. I know that this morning you have been talking about relationships in reference to having a mate, a partner in love, as you said, Leigh, and all those relationships. But you have relationships all the time. You have relationships with your animals that you have as pets. You have relationships with your children. You have relationships with people that you work with, people that you go to synagogue or church or mosque with or temple with. Those are all relationships. So, but I know that today it seems like the emphasis is on relationships with someone who becomes significant in your life. So, you've gone over many of the parts that we could discuss, but we can reiterate it again. But the basic thing for you is to really have deep love of self. Not just have just love of self on that cursory level, but to make it a deep sense of love that, yes, you appreciate yourself. Because if you, whatever, remember, and you brought it up, you said create, support, create. If you don't love yourself, then you're going to find somebody that's going to come and support you with that. They will support you in showing you, hey, you don't love yourself. So let me show you this. Let me be cruel. There are children where parents have relationships with their children and they're not getting along with their children. And they say their children are treating them terribly. But you know what? It's not that the children are treating you terribly. It's that you don't love yourself. So they have to support you where you are at. You see, there's always support. Who do you bring around you? Who are you creating to be in your empty box? Who are you creating? That shows you where you are at the unconscious level.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, you kind of answered it, because before we went to break, I asked Greta, so you've been creating, and it's not working out so well. So you take a pause to do some inner work. And then I asked Greta, how do you know if you've done the work before you're ready to set out there again? But I guess you just answered it, because, there's so many relationships in your life, gauge how those are going, I suppose, is a good barometer.
Absolutely. That's a barometer. How's it going? How's it going in my relationship with my children? How's it going with my relationship with my significant other? How's it going, my relationship with my parents? How is it going with my relationship with my siblings? These are all relationships. How's it going in my relationship with my boss? You see, is your boss constantly criticizing you and not seeing any good in you? Then the thing is to look at yourself. What is it about me that I have created this person to say that to me? See, somebody cannot say something to you unless you're there ready to receive it. It's like playing baseball. When you stand at the batter's diamond and the pitcher is at the pitcher's plate and they throw the ball. It may be a curve ball, it may be a straight ball, or whatever kind of fastball, slow ball, whatever kind of ball it is. And your purpose then in your life, because you have taken the bat in your hand and you have stood on the plate where the batter stands, then you've accepted to receive whatever ball that pitcher is going to show to you. Now, if you are loving and caring about yourself, then you're going to get those balls that, wow, boom, I hit it right out of the park. It's a good ball for me. I'm successful with that. I'm running to first base, to second base, to third, and then home. I've scored a home run. But then there can be others that stand at the bat. They get three balls and you're out, whatever. And then they go off, rejected and dejected. I didn't do the home run. I didn't hit the ball out of the park. Then some people can say, I'm lucky. You were just lucky you found the right person. Luck has nothing to do with anything other than it's L-U-C-K, and we feel it's meaningful. But luck does not exist. It's one of the big illusions. So what is the truism is, what are you creating based on who you are? Who are you? What type of person are you? Are you kind? Then you can attract and create somebody who's kind. Do you hate yourself? You don't think you're worthy? Okay, that's okay too, because it's a lesson you have chosen. There's nothing right or wrong about this. It's just, what do you want to live with? And it comes down, do you want to wake up in the morning getting ready to fight with the person that you're living in the house with? Or do you want to be able to wake up in the morning with loving and caring? Those people who are single parents, be it a single father or a single mother, could wake up and their child is cursing them out. Okay? Don't look at the child. Look at yourself. Don't look at your significant other. Look at yourself. Always turn inward, because that's where you create, and we've said this before, inward is where you create the challenge. Inward is where you create the solution. Turn inward to yourself. What type of person am I that this man socked me in my eye? What type of person am I that my wife insulted me? And I go out every day to work, but she insults me every time I come home. Don't look and blame your wife. That's what we do. That's the easy way out. You know, you want to take the easy way out. It's easy to go around and say it's that person's fault. I'm blaming you for that. You can't blame anybody for anything, because nobody can do anything to you in the first place. Why? Because you create your own reality. You are responsible for everything you do. You are responsible for every person you bring inside your empty box. Every person. Not just a little bit here and there. No, every person you are bringing. Every person you are creating and attracting. So decide what type of person you are, what you aim to be. Do you want to be a person of peace? Then you will attract a person of peace.
Realm, can I ask a question?
Hate, you will do that as well.
Realm?
Yes.
What if you look into yourself and you don't like what you find? How do you go about changing that to be a person who can love yourself?
Well, you had several things that you brought to the listening audience about changes. One is your quick displace replace changes.
Mm-hmm.
Then one is affirmations. If you don't feel like doing that, some people have done vision boards about the type of person that they want to have. But then what type of person are you?
See, that QDR and those affirmations work with your unconscious, because your unconscious is going to support you in your lessons. So it's going to support you. You want to be in a loop. You want to move from person to person to person to person, and they are the same type of person. That means you have not learned your lesson. How do you learn your lesson? How do you got to tell the unconscious, not the subconscious. We don't deal with Freud. We're looking at the unconscious. So the unconscious holds everything. It doesn't miss a beat, because the unconscious is also the force. So it knows exactly what you're calling to yourself. It will support you in that. It supports you with your creation of reality. You're not necessarily, you're the main supporter, but they will lend you support. They don't create it for yourself, but you as the force do create your reality. You see, it's putting all of this in relationship with each other and developing a full understanding of what is going on. What is going on simply is that you are bringing to yourself persons or persons to support you in who you believe and accept yourself to be at this time. And we're using time because people believe in time in this reality.
So, Realm, would it be fair to say that the first relationship you should be concerned with is the relationship with yourself, and start from there?
Absolutely, because see, when you were in the womb, you were already forming what your personality was going to be like. See, it's the personalities that accept all these things. What's my personality going to be like? It's forming inside the womb. And then when you pop out, then you're dealing with that formation already. If you chose two parents who were very volatile and were argumentative and so forth, then you feel them arguing while you're in the womb. When you're 6 months in the womb, you hear and see everything. So there you go. You look at it and you say, oh, this is normal. This is my life. Because it's normalcy for you. This is the acceptance of it. Because see, once you come into this realm, this reality, you don't remember that you're the force. You don't remember that you know everything. You don't remember that you're divine. You're filled with illusion. So therefore, you focus on the illusions. You have the illusions support your formation of your creation of reality. So the illusions support you in calling, creating, and attracting significant others to you, be it your parent, your mother, or be your father, be it your siblings, be it your own children, be it a significant other. You see, you call them, you create them, you attract them to you to support you with this. So again, stop looking at them and turn it around and start looking at yourselves. You see, do I have an amen?
Oh, amen.
Thank you very much.
And a hallelujah.
Let's add the extra to it. Yes, that is it.
So, Realm,
yes.
I have a formation question. I guess I was getting a little hung up on things earlier, but okay, let's say you're in a relationship and you find yourself, you hear some self-talk and you say, oh, you hear yourself saying, oh, my mother never listens to me. Oh, okay. So if you finally hear that that's some thought that you've been playing over and over in your mind and you just heard it, is the QDR like, I release all thoughts and emotions that are creating and maintaining the false belief that my mother doesn't listen to me? Or is it that kind of sounds blamey? Or is it I release all thoughts and emotions that creating and maintaining the feeling that I am not listened to or being
Either one
heard.
of them will work. Either one of them will work, but you left out some words.
And
So
I'm loving myself unconditionally.
support, you left out support. And
Okay.
then we're adding something new to it now. We're adding experiencing. I am experiencing, releasing all emotions and thoughts that support me. You see, those things are giving you the support in the reality that support me in creating, and not only creating the thing, but maintaining it. That's what the loop is. You keep doing
Right.
the same doggone thing over and over again, creating and maintaining. You can say, feeling that my mother does not listen to me. I love myself unconditionally. Or you can say, I am experiencing, releasing all emotions and thoughts that support me in creating and maintaining that a belief that my mother doesn't listen to me. Either one is the same. You feel it. When you say the word feeling, it's taking it more into your gut. Belief is more of an intellectual pursuit. But when you say feeling, that is really the feeling is going to trump the belief.
Okay, that's good.
Like the fuel. The emotions are the fuel that drive forward the thoughts, right?
Absolutely. So when you get into feelings there, you're getting into the emotions of it. You're getting into the crux that really supports you to do this over and over and over again. You're getting into that. If it's just a belief, it's a belief. I can throw it aside. I'll take on another belief. See, it's an intellectual pursuit. Belief is a mental pursuit with your mental body. Feeling is an emotional pursuit with your emotional body. And the emotional body, as Carol just said, drives the thought. Does that help, Leigh?
Yes, because I wasn't sure if maybe the way I was phrasing it was trying to change the other instead of changing me.
No, they're both dealing with you because your feeling is yours. Your belief is yours.
Is your
Right.
okay.
Not the other person. And then you declare, see, that is the displace section. The replace section of that QDR, quick displace replace, is I love myself unconditional. See, that's the replace. You're driving that home. And see, when you say sometimes we have emotions and we have thoughts that we aren't consciously aware of, but the unconscious is aware. So that's why you say, I'm experiencing releasing all emotions and all thoughts that support me in creating and maintaining, because they give you the support to create these things. And then after you create them, you maintain them. Like we said, that's what the loop is. You create a certain scenario about yourself or a certain paradigm, and you use it over and over and over again. It's like you have this favorite pen that you like to write with. You know, it's a beautiful pen. You like how it feels in your hand. It feels so balanced in your hand. And you like how when you write, how the print appears or the cursive writing appears on the tablet or paper that you are writing. You love that. You see, that's your loop. That pen is like your loop. I love my loop. Let me keep doing it until you realize it doesn't serve you anymore. But when you realize that loop does not serve you, then you can let it go. Yes, Carol, you were saying.
With the pen, it eventually will run out of ink. So you can see an end to it. Whereas with your loops, they never run out until you're consciously working on them.
Absolutely.
I wish my ink would run out of ink.
It doesn't do it on its own. But guess what, Carol? When the pen runs out of ink, who created that?
The pen?
No. The pen is only supporting you in the creation of running out of ink.
Ladies, we have gone through another podcast of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. Thank you, Realm, for joining us. Thank you, Greta. Thank you, Carol. And most importantly, thank you, listeners, for joining us in the podcast today until we create each other again.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the realm and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.